Hello everyone, I'm Aaron, a birding naturalist. Welcome back to my channel. As I talked about in my last video, I spent some time in Greece. And while there, I kind of thought about European bird names and North American bird names and confusion. Let's talk about it. I'm sure this will come as a surprise to absolutely no one when I say that a lot of the English names that we have for birds here in North America were given to those birds by European colonists. People in Europe living there, seeing the birds around them, having names applied to those birds around them, then moving to North America and seeing birds that reminded them of their hometown birds. And so applying the same names that they had used back in Europe to these new birds that they were seeing in their new home in North America. Now, a lot of these people weren't naturalists. A lot of these people weren't scientists. A lot of these people got it really, really wrong. I will admit, some of the birds that they used the same name for, they did get right. They were basically very similar birds to the birds they were seeing back in Europe. But a lot of them were just not. And a great example of this is blackbirds. The European blackbird, which is the official name is the common blackbird. Sometimes just shortened to blackbird. It's actually a thrush. It's a species of thrush. The males are indeed beautiful black colors with a sort of yellow-orange bill. But when Europeans, who were used to their common blackbird, came to North America and saw birds that were largely black, applied the same name to them, blackbirds. But it turns out that the North American blackbirds, the thing that is often called the blackbird family, the Icterid family, are not thrushes at all. The common blackbird back in Europe, that was a thrush, species of thrush. The New World blackbirds, entirely different family. So, just a ill-applied name. And speaking of thrushes, robins are actually another great example of this. The European robin, lovely orange-breasted, tiny little bird, was so common and so beloved by so many people. It was a companion in gardens and such, that Europeans, as they moved around the globe, basically applied the name robin to anything that looked even vaguely robin-ish, sort of like. So there's our American robin. There are various robins in Australia. There are robins or chat robins or robin-esque birds in Asia and Africa. And really the only thing they have in common is that they kind of look in some way, sort of superficially, like the European robin. But there are all sorts of different relatedness. They aren't related to the robin. The European robin was actually a species of flycatcher. Our American robin is actually a thrush, more closely related to the common blackbird than it is to the European robin. When naming things, people just got horribly, horribly confused and got everything wrong. Another really confusion-generating term is the word buzzard. Again, starting back in Europe, buzzard were these large, soaring hawks. Not vultures, hawks. More akin to our red-tailed hawks, members of the genus Buteo. Those were the buzzards in Europe. Europeans come to North America, they see large winged birds soaring around. Ah, buzzard. But somehow the group of birds that buzzard in North America got associated with were our vultures, and not like the red-tailed hawk, Swainson's hawk, ferruginous hawk, not the bootios. So in North America, we now have buzzards that are vultures and hawks that are these other species of raptors, bootios. Whereas in Europe, they have buzzards, which are bootios, and hawks, which are actually different groups entirely. And they have vultures. They don't call them vultures buzzards. Are you confused yet? Yeah, it's confusing. Names matter. Names are important. They're super useful. But, boy, when you get them wrong, a lot of confusion comes up. And this is confusion that happens every day today. I still get into conversations with people about a buzzard and what buzzard means. Some of them are people from Europe. Some of them are people in North America. So, I guess the lesson here is just be careful what you call things. Which, seems fairly straightforward. Doesn't seem very surprising. Doesn't seem very revolutionary. But I guess it's something that birders at least need to be reminded of. When it comes to changing bird names, there's sort of a complicated process. I'm not sure if these things are ever going to really be remedied. I'm not sure if we're going to ever have the red-tailed buzzard, which in many ways we probably should have, or the ferruginous buzzard. I'm not sure if our North American robin, our American robin, will someday be changed to like the American thrush. Doesn't seem like the best name either. I don't know. Needs some work. And the same with blackbirds. I mean, our blackbirds, icterids, are called the blackbird family now, even though the sort of original blackbird was a thrush back in Europe and not an icterid at all. And I'm not sure there's really any way of permanently, these things have become so entrenched in scientific literature, in non-scientific literature, in birding vernacular. Don't think these things are going anywhere, but I do think it's worth understanding where they came from and sort of why they are the way they are, so that at least if you know the areas of confusion, you can step carefully and try to be clear with your own communications. So, little information on North American bird names, on European bird names, on the confusion and intersection between the two, and overlaps and non-overlaps. And I hope that you're able to take this information and be careful with your language, Be aware when you're calling something a blackbird, who your audience is, and maybe they might have different understanding of what that bird is and what its name might be. Thank you very much for the view. Always appreciate the time you spend with me. Until next time, enjoy the natural world.